everybody, it's Wootini. Welcome to another one of my weekly video podcasts. This week I was inspired by the release of the unbelievably fantastic superhero movie, The Avengers. And I want to talk comic books. The movie is so amazing. It's ridiculous. It stars the unbelievably hunky Chris Hemsworth and the also hunky Chris Evans, the surprisingly still attractive Robert Downey Jr., the also delicious Jeremy Renner, and some chick named Scarlett something or other. It's amazing. Marvel did a great job. They set everything up in all their previous movies. They bring everybody together for this movie, and it was epic on the scale of ridiculousness. And I just felt like a 6-year-old kid squealing and cheering and clapping with a grin from ear to ear the whole time I'm in that theater, and it was awesome. And I kind of feel like they should just cancel the releases of Batman and Spider-Man, because there's no way they're gonna possibly compare to the nerdgasm that is the Avengers. And I know that there was a Avengers video game that was being worked on, I forget by who, but there was like some video footage of it that like leaked, and it was like a first-person shooter, I think, because you like had Hulk hands at one point or Iron Man hands and stuff, and you know, clearly it didn't work because superhero games are really tough to do, it seems. I mean, right from the start, they've been trying to do superhero games. I mean, I remember trying to play Superman on the Atari 2600. Yeah, you didn't think I was going to go back that far, did ya? Yeah, Superman on the Atari 2600, which was always hard. The 2600 was great for things like Pac-Man, Space... Already, Pac-Man was kind of... But, like, simple arcade games. You know, whenever they tried to have anything that resembled story or actual human characters, it started getting dicey, because, you know, obviously the hardware can't handle that sort of thing. I remember trying to play Indiana Jones and being like, what am I even looking at? But yeah, and then, you know, Superman on the Atari 2600, you're like, okay, I guess. And of course there's the infamous classic Superman 64, which I can't even. I just can't even. But I do think that that's actually a problem of the character. Superman doesn't make a good video game character. They also did one for the Xbox, as I recall, and I remember playing a demo for it, like downloading a demo or something, and or playing a demo disc of it or something. But like, and being kind of like, it's okay. But the problem with Superman is that he's invulnerable. He can fly everywhere he wants to go. Super strong. Like, a Superman game wouldn't really be much of a challenge, because Superman is Superman. So I think there's like just an inherent difficulty in that. That's why you want to make games about lesser powered characters, such as, say, Spider-Man or Batman. I know they did some Spider-Man, Activision's done some Spider-Man games that have gotten some good reviews. The only one that I've actually played is Ultimate Spider-Man on the Xbox, just because I like the Ultimate Universe, and I kind of liked the toon look of the graphics, you know. I like the cel-shaded look. I thought it looked cool. I remember not getting all that far in it, but I mean, it was enjoyable for a while. But to me, the most successful games have been the Batman games, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. For certain reasons, I kind of feel like Arkham Asylum was slightly better than Arkham City, but then there's certain things about Arkham City that I like more than Arkham Asylum, but, you know, whatever. But those are good games. You really do feel like Batman, and you have all of his abilities, and you're fighting crime, and it's very exciting, and it's very accessible, and those, I think, are probably some of the best superhero games I've ever seen. And in fact, I remember going to a Sega press presentation a couple years ago, and they were demoing the games that were tying into the Thor movie and the Captain America movie, because that was that summer. And I remember Thor was just kind of a God of War beat-em-up kind of thing, and that's not really my genre. But the Captain America game, playing it on the 360, I was pleasantly surprised, because it felt like the Arkham Asylum style of play. And so I always thought, oh, well, I'll get it at some point, like when it's in the bargain bin, which it should now be in the bargain bin relatively cheap, I should think. So maybe I should look into that. If you've played it, let me know if it's worth seeking out for like $15 or $20. I don't know. The demo I played, I was surprised that I enjoyed it. So those, I think the Batman games, those are a really solid game. The other superhero game that I was quite impressed by was Infamous, which is kind of different because it's not a licensed game. It's an original character and an original property, which is actually a really good idea because they made a superhero game where you're a superhero or a supervillain, depending on how you want to play the game. It's up to you. Of course, I always play the hero. And they could give him these electrical powers, and they could design the game and the character in unison. So it's not like you're taking a character and saying, oh, okay, Aquaman, let's make an Aquaman game. Okay, what do we do? Well, he can swim. Okay, and he can talk to fishes. Okay, and they made an Aquaman game, and it was kind of heinous. But there are always these licensed properties, and whenever you're dealing with a licensing situation, it gets really hinky because you have the licensee who wants to make the game that will sell, and you have the licensor who doesn't care. That's the problem. The licensor should be reining in the licensee to say, no, 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 we can't have this Superman game look like this, because he shouldn't be fighting giant metal rhinoceroses or whatever the heck it was. Were they rhinos or elephants? I forget. I think they were rhinoceros. I don't know. Whatever. Like, why is he doing this? How does this make any sense whatsoever? And they should say things like that. You know, you should say, no, this isn't a good thing. Why are you making this game like this? Stop. And rein in the licensee. But they never seem to, because the licensors are always just like, oh, you want to make a game of this animated series? Go right ahead. Give me our money. Thank you. And they just take the money. And then they put out a game, and the game is usually... I mean, anytime you see any licensed game, it's usually not going to be very good. And it's always kind of a surprise when it's good. I mean, come on. Admit it. When you first played Arkham Asylum, you were surprised. But I wish that people would put more effort into it, like with Arkham Asylum, and not do... That's the other thing. Arkham Asylum wasn't necessarily tied into a movie. So they have that freedom to work on the game and make it as good as possible because it's coming out in its own time. You make something... If they had tried to make an Avengers game to come out to tie into the Avengers movie, it would have been horrible. Because they wouldn't have been able to start development in time to make a really good game that would come out in time for this movie. So you would have ended up releasing some half-assed piece of crap that nobody would want to play, and you'd probably make some money because people would buy it, parents would buy it for their kids because they don't know any better, but it wouldn't really be a success, and you certainly wouldn't get a franchise out of it like Batman did. Although, honestly, I sort of loved Lego Batman, and I would not mind playing a Lego Avengers if perhaps they could make that happen. I think that would be pretty awesome, because I just want to play a Lego Hulk and just run around smashing everything in sight. I think that would be pretty spectacular. So go see the Avengers. I'm sure you already have. I'm probably going to go see it again in 3D, just because I went in 2D because I don't like it when they do 3D movies that they add the 3D later. I need it to be shot in 3D with 3D cameras so that it looks good. Sometimes when they add the 3D in later, it's a little bit hinky and it doesn't quite work. But I've heard from friends that the 3D is actually pretty good, and I want to go see it again anyway because it was so awesome, and I figure why not see it in 3D, even though it costs some more money. So I can't wait to see it again. I'm sure you can't wait to see it again. And yes, I know we'd all love to play an Avengers video game, but just imagine the horror that it probably would have been, so we're better off without it. Let them make something else that's even better. And if you have any comic book video game recommendations of stuff that I should play, leave it in the comments and let me know. And maybe I'll check them out, because I do love my comic books. But I like old school comic books, I don't like the new ones. They're very dark and violent, and I'm not crazy about the new DCU. What are you gonna do? We always have our memories. Go back and play the old games, or read the old comics, watch the old TV shows, because not everything that's new is good. Except for the Avengers, which is awesome. So, enjoy, and I will see you next week. Bye.